Yo guys, Features Gaming here and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel, and today, as you can see, I am taking a free mock theory test. So yes guys, I am going to be taking on a free mock theory test. It's just like a little browser thing I found online, so I don't know if it's true, like if you would get these kinds of questions in a mock theory test. I don't know, but we're going to be taking it on because I am taking driving lessons at the moment, like on the real roads. So hopefully in a few months time I'll be able to drive on the roads like proper, so that'll be awesome, and hopefully I'll be able to make great content for you guys, like going to places and vlogging stuff, so that'll be awesome. So I think without any further ado, let's get started with the mock theory test. But before I do the theory test, I just want to show you how this works. So if I switch my face cam to the right hand side of the screen, you can see that it says your progress with 50 boxes. Now what you do is you answer 50 questions and then you will get a score based on your overall score. So if you get one wrong, then you can only make 7 mistakes as well. That's what it says, allowed to pass. So if you get 8 or more questions wrong, I think, then you fail, but it's not like a real fail like on this. It's just like a bit of fun. So yeah, I think I've explained how that works. So basically you go through the questions and you answer them right or wrong and stuff like that. I think I've explained it really well. So let's switch my face cam back to the left hand side of the screen and get started with this theory test. So the first question is, you are towing a trailer on a motorway. What is the maximum speed at which you can travel? Now I know on a motorway the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, but I think if you're towing a trailer you have to do a certain percent under the speed limit. Now with the answers that they've got there, there's no point whatever, or just they're all intense. So I think we have to go with the nearest one. So I'm not too sure on what the percentage is. I think it's like 10% or something. So I'm gonna go with the closest, and I think it's gonna be 60 miles an hour. So yeah, when towing a trailer on the motorway, the maximum speed limit you can go is 60. Oh, so you can only go 60. Okay, you learn something new every day. I didn't actually know that. So on a standard 3-lane motorway, what is the purpose of the right-hand lane? So on a 3-lane motorway, which is the normal motorway like the A1, the M1, so what is the purpose of the right-hand lane? So the fastest lane on the right. So the answers we have is for high-speed cruising on the motorway, for overtaking, for low-speed cruising on the motorway, or for use by high-sided vehicles. For use by high-sided vehicles. I'm going to go with for overtaking because that's the lane that you usually use, and then you go back into the loser lane. I'll never forget that Michael McIntyre episode on Top Gear.
Retreat to the loser lane where you belong.
So the right-hand lane is used for overtaking vehicles in the central lane. Okay, so I did get that right. Right, next question. So as you can see now on the progress, it says that I've got questions 1 and 2 correct, and the yellow is saying what question I'm on, which is question 3. So the next question is, you are driving down the motorway and planning to turn off at the next junction. Unfortunately, you miss your exit. What should you do? Reverse on the hard shoulder back to the exit. That's what I'll probably do on Euro Truck. Carry on until you reach the next junction and at which you can exit. Reverse in the left-hand lane if no cars are coming. Perform a U-turn at the next gap in the central reservation. I'm gonna put carry on until you next reach the junction at which you can exit, because that sounds like the most common sense answer, if you see what I mean. Like that's what you would immediately pick. So I'm gonna go with that. And yeah, that's correct. So you must carry on to the next junction and exit there. After this, go back down the motorway until you reach your desired exit. It is illegal to reverse or do a U-turn on the motorway. So I did get that right. So when approaching an unmarked crossroads, who has right of way? So the answers are the driver travelling at the fastest speed, the driver travelling in the largest vehicle, the driver travelling on the widest road, or none of the above. Now, what I've learned from Crossroads already is if you both are coming and you're both going to cut across each other's paths, the person who gets there first is the person who goes first. So the person who gets to the crossroad first turns before you, so you have to give way to them. So that's what I know about crossroads. From those answers, it could be at the fastest speed, but that could just be he gets there while going 40 mile an hour, and I can go to the crossroad at 60 mile an hour, at which I have right of way from that answer. Now, from what I know from crossroads, that is wrong. I have to give way to that person that gets to the crossroad first. Traveling in the largest vehicle could be a lorry, but from what I have learnt from crossroads, if I got to the junction before the lorry or whatever, I go first. Driver travelling on the widest road, I don't think that applies. So I'm going to go with none of the above, which is correct, okay? At an unmarked crossroads, you should approach the road with caution and prepare to stop unexpectedly. So that is if cars are going like through there, or if someone gets to the crossroad before you. I think that's what it means by that. So let's go to the next question. When travelling on icy roads, how should you drive? With the handbrake slightly on, with the car in the lowest gear possible, with your left foot resting on the brake at all times, with the car in the highest gear possible. Now, from what I've learned from these questions, when they ask you about gears or stuff, like if you're traveling on icy roads, on some of the questions they are talking about the gear ratio. So not actually which gear you're supposed to be in, it's talking about the gear ratios. Now, from what I know about traveling on icy roads, you should travel in a low gear with a high gear ratio. So, with the handbrake slightly on, that's just going to cut off the engine. It's going to make it impossible to drive. Well, it probably won't make it impossible to drive, but you would certainly damage the car. With your left foot resting over the brake at all times, I know that you shouldn't do that. Well, the only reason you should do that is when you're drifting, like when you're tandeming. Is that the right word? Tandeming? I don't know. But like just normal driving, you should never have your left foot over the brake. You should only use the accelerator and the brake with your right foot, and only use the clutch with your left foot. But if you're using a automatic car, then you don't need to use your left foot at all. So with the car in the lowest gear possible, now that's what I meant about tricking you, because you would say, oh, you'll go in the lowest gear, like 1, 2, and 3. But no, it's actually, I think this question is talking about the ratios. I'm not saying it is, but I think it is talking about the gear ratios, because that's what my driving instructor has told me. So I'm going to put with the car in the highest gear possible, because as I said, talking about ratios, you would need to be in a lower gear, traveling in the high gear ratios on icy roads. So I'm going to go with that. So on icy roads, driving slowly in the highest gear reduces the chance of wheel spin. Yes, I think I got that correct. So next question. You're involved in an accident with another vehicle. Someone sustains a neck injury and your vehicle is damaged. What should you find out from the other driver involved? And the answers that we have to select. So I think the theory test is a multiple choice questions as well, which I like personally. I don't like having to write long essays. So I like that it gives you 4 questions that you can. So the answers that we have are how long the driver has been driving, the driver's name, address, number and insurance details, the driver's history of accidents, and the driver's occupation. I'm gonna say the driver's name, address, number and insurance details, because well, I actually don't know how long the driver has been driving. I mean, that could be the answer. I'm going to go with the name, address, number, and insurance details, because if you get the insurance details, then surely if you ring their insurance, they can tell you how long the driver has been driving for. And then the insurance will also tell you the history of accidents. So I'm going to put the driver's name, address, number, and insurance details, so then you can contact the driver if you need to. So I'm going to put with that, and that is correct. It is necessary to find out the driver's name, number, address, and insurance details to provide to your insurance company. So you need to actually have that to provide your insurance company. And just to let you know, guys, like, I'm not proving to be like if you have a theory test with these questions, these are the answers that you select. No, like I've only had I think like 6 hours I think on the roads, so like I'm not the best driver at all. I mean like I did do Young Driver. If you don't know what that is, then Google it, because it is basically a sort of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's basically driving lessons when you're 11 till 17, so when you can start driving on the public roads. So Young Driver is normally based in a car park where it's nice, secure, not with other cars on the roads, and it is a really good thing. And I have been doing that since I was like 12, I think. So I do have a really good understanding on how the car mechanics work, but I'm not too sure on like all of the driving on the public roads, like looking out for all sorts of hazards. I mean, they did do some like hazard perception at Young Driver, but not as many as there would be in real life. So I'm not claiming to be the best driver. I'm just doing this for maybe a bit of fun and a bit of revision as well, because as of now, I haven't actually read the theory book. So basically, I think I may turn this into a series, like do a theory test, read the book, and then when I am basically ready to take my theory test, then I do like another free mock theory test, because my driving instructor has actually said that he thinks I should start looking at my theory test. 6 hours on the road and I'm already ready. He thinks I'm about ready to take the theory test, which I was just like, really? I mean, because of me doing Young Driver, like he said, I know you'll be really easy to teach, which is awesome. So hopefully I'll be able to get I'll be able to get my license very soon, which will be insane. So yeah, going back to this, your insurance company, this will allow you to further contact. Yeah, I said about the contact. So next question, on to the next question. Right, if you forget to switch off your rear fog lights even after the fog has cleared, it could, answers, represent a breach of the law, affect the engine's power, damage your car's battery, and make the lights less bright for future use. Now, what I know, like, if you park your car and leave your lights on, it can damage your car's battery. If you don't know what that is, it's the clock. I don't know if you can hear it. I don't know. So I know when you park your car, if you leave your lights on, it can damage the car's battery. So I think that is the case with fog lights. I'm not too sure. I don't think there is Is there a law to not switching your fog lights off? I'm not too sure. Affect the engine's power. I'm not too sure about that one. Make the lights less bright for future. I'm going to put damage to the car's battery. So, no, that is... Wait. So there is a law. I really need to study on this. It could lead to you being pulled over by the police and cautioned as rear fog lights dazzle other drivers. I never knew that. Okay. You learn something new every day. So the rear fog lights can actually dazzle other drivers. Okay. Right. Next question. You are waiting to emerge at a junction, but parked vehicles are restricting your view. What can you do to help yourself see? Look in a shop window to view the reflection of traffic. Check your interior mirrors. Get out of the car and look. Ask a passenger to look behind you. Now, from what I know about emerging from junctions, is that if you can't see if parked vehicles are restricting your view, you would pull out a bit more further so you can see, but that isn't one of the answers. So the next possible answer is sometimes when you're driving, there's like a mirror there and you can see around the corner like a blind bend. So I think that is kind of the same as looking in a shop window to view the reflection. So I'm going to go with that one. I'm not too sure if it is the correct one, but from what I know about driving, if there is a mirror, then you look at that to see around the corner, and basically you're looking at a reflection, and that looking in through a shop window to view a reflection. Both of those things have reflection in. In my mind, it makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense in your minds, but I'm going to put that, and it is correct. So, reflections from shop windows can provide views of all the traffic. Your mirrors have blind spots, and a passenger will probably be less able to see than you will. That is that can be true. So next question. A roof rack fitted to your car will cause your fuel consumption to increase, your fuel consumption to decrease, your speed to increase, or less chance of an accident. Now, I think it depends on the weight of the roof rack. So if it's heavy, then obviously it will come down to your fuel consumption. I can't even say this. It will come down to your fuel consumption to increase. And I think even with lightweight, because you're putting more weight down on the car. So I think either way, it will make your fuel consumption to increase. It won't increase your speed. If anything, it will decrease your speed. Less chance of an accident. That could be an outcome, because if you have more weight in the car, it could take less time to brake and come to a stop. I don't know. It could mean more braking distance or less braking distance, whichever way it is, which could be an accident, which could be a hazard as well. I don't know. But I'm going to put the fuel consumption to increase because I know that is 100% what will happen. So that is correct. A roof rack mounted on the exterior of the car will add the aerodynamic drag, popularly called as air resistance or wind resistance. Overcoming drag requires additional energy, which requires more fuel. So it's not actually about the weight; it's about the aerodynamics. Okay, it can be down to the heaviness of the car as well. Anyway, next question. If you are involved in an accident and someone is unconscious, your highest priority will be to check the person's airways and breathing and stop any heavy bleeding. Take names and details of all those involved. Carry on moving or sweep up any broken glass or debris that is near the person. Is this a theory test or is this a doctor's test? I mean, in an accident, obviously you would have to check the person's okay. But, if the airways have stopped and you're not CPR trained, then who will be there to, do it? I don't know. Heavy bleeding, I think anyone can do that, stop heavy bleeding. You just put pressure on it and then lift it above the heart. I'm gonna check the person's airways, though, because I think the main priority is to check the person is okay. So I'm going to put that, and that is seeming to be the correct answer. You should check the unconscious. Oh yeah, I forgot that they were unconscious. That was pretty stupid of me. Check the unconscious person's airways and breathing. Any stem, any heavy bleeding. Just making sure that the person's okay, I guess. Right, next question. In which of the following situations should you never overtake cyclists? Okay, immediately before making a left turn, where the road narrows, or on an approach to a roundabout, or all of the above. Now, from what I know from driving, I think it's from approaching traffic lights. The only thing you can overtake is a non-motorized vehicle. Now, if it's talking about a cyclist, you can overtake them. But all of these are in dangerous situations. So on approach to a roundabout, now you could be taking the first exit and the cyclist could be taking the third exit, in which you'll have to cross each other's paths and maybe cause an accident. So where the road narrows, that could be dangerous. Immediately before making a left turn, crossing each other's paths. I'm going to put all of the above, because I think that makes sense, and that is correct. Stay behind if you are following a cyclist approaching a roundabout or junction as you intend to turn left. Do not overtake where you might come into conflict, as in crashing, with other road users, for example, where the road narrows or at a level crossing. So basically, I just said that answer in the reading the questions, the answers out. I really cannot speak today. Anyway, next question. When you are turning left to enter a side road, which hazard should you watch out for the most? Congested traffic, vehicles parked on either side, pedestrians, if the side road has a one-way system. Turning left to enter a side road. Now, side roads normally have tons of parked cars there. Now, there could be a load of pedestrians as well. So I think we have to look at it at a more of like, which is more fragile, pedestrians or cars? So obviously pedestrians are a lot more I was going to say valuable, but that's not the right word. Are like a lot more more fragile than vehicles. Like, not saying like a glass breaking. Like, I'm meaning like, which one would you not want to hit? Obviously, that'll be a pedestrian. So I'm going to put pedestrians, which is correct. Pedestrians are an important hazard because they can obstruct the road and cause danger unexpectedly. So, pretty much said the answer. Next question. Excessive or uneven tyre wear can be caused by faults in the exhaust system, suspension, cooling system, or gearbox. I think it can be a bit of suspension and gearbox. I don't really think the exhaust can affect tyre wear. I don't think the cooling system can either. I don't even know where both of them are located. Well, probably the exhaust system is where the exhaust is. Not entirely sure on where the cooling system is. But suspension and gearbox from playing F1, I think, can cause the most tyre wear. But which one causes the most tyre wear? I'm going to put suspension, because if you're driving like that on a road, the suspension will I don't know, like the suspension will try and like even it out, and that can maybe cause tyre wear. So I'm going to put suspension. In my head it makes sense. As I said, I don't know if it makes sense in your head, and apparently that is correct. The suspension system is responsible for protecting and supporting the car. A faulty or loose part can result in tyre damage. The suspension system should be checked periodically. I think that's what it says. Anyway, next question. You are waiting behind a cyclist at a traffic light. When it changes, you should... Now, from what I know, this is what I was talking about. At a traffic light, the only thing you can overtake is a non-motorised vehicle. But if you're waiting, I think that's different. So, try to move before the cyclist does. That can be highly dangerous. Beep your horn and drive through before the cyclist can. And again, dangerous. And some people do that. They honk their horn because they are quite angry at the cyclist. I would never do that. Allow the cyclist time and room to move. That would probably be the most sensible option. Or drive as near to the cyclist as possible to ensure you get through. No, because that is very dangerous. I'm going to put allow the cyclist time and room to move, because I think that's the most sensible option. So let's go with that. You should always allow the cyclist the time and space to move first, so that is correct. Next question. While at a mini roundabout, you need to give way to oncoming traffic to your left, give way to oncoming traffic ahead of you, give way to oncoming traffic to your right, or come to a halt even when there is no traffic. I am going to put give way to oncoming traffic on your right. Now, I don't think I have said, but in the UK we drive on the left-hand side. We don't drive on the right like you do in America or in Germany or France or whatever country you're from. In the UK we drive on the left. So on a roundabout you go around like that for us. So by looking at it from your screen, I think we drive like that when you're looking at it, because I'm having to think about it being reversed. So we drive around clockwise, that's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to put give way to oncoming traffic to your right, because on your right, then the car comes across you. So I'm going to put on your right. Hopefully that makes sense, because it is correct on this. The law states that it is necessary for all drivers to give way to the right when at roundabouts or mini roundabouts. So, next question. While waiting at a pelican crossing, luckily I just had a pelican crossing, basically crossing, or like all kinds of, like crossroads. No, basically 2 days ago or yesterday, I don't know when this video is going to come out, I had a lesson about all kinds of pelicans who can all kinds of crossings. So hopefully this question will come into my favour here. An elderly person begins to cross the street. When the traffic lights turn to green, the person is only halfway across the road. What should you do? Now, it's talking about our pelican crossings, so not safe havens, or toucan, or what is the other one? I've forgotten what the other one is. Pelican. There is another really obvious one. I cannot remember what it is. My mind has just gone blank. But I know that a pelican crossing is the ones with the traffic lights, I think. Yeah, traffic lights. It says it right there. Let's read the answers. Remain stationary until the person has reached a pedestrian footpath. Give the person a wave that signals that he or she should cross as quickly as possible. Flash your headlights so the person is aware that you are waiting, or rev the car's engine so the person crosses the road more quickly. Now, an elderly person may not cross that quick, as we could commonsensely know. So, I know that you cannot move until all kinds of pedestrians have got across or at a safe place. So I'm going to put remain stationary until the person has reached the pedestrian footpath. As elderly people are vulnerable road users, basically not being that quick, you should allow them extra time on all crossings, even in traffic lights have turned to green, as I said. Next question. You are involved in a collision while you're driving. What is the first thing you must do? I've just noticed that I've probably been recording for a lot of time and we're only on question 17. This could be a while. But I'm going to try and just answer the questions quickly and then tell you rather than trying to figure it out whilst talking. Because normally I just think of it in my head and then immediately do it. So, you are involved in a collision while you're driving. What is the first thing you must do? Carry on driving, stop at the scene of an accident, call someone you know to ask for advice, or call your insurance company. Now, this one's pretty straightforward. Stop at the scene of the accident. Failing to stop after an accident is punishable by a maximum of 6 months imprisonment, a $5,000 fine or pound fine, whichever country you're in, 5 to 10 penalty points on your driving record, and something disqualification. I don't know what that word means. So anyway, I got it right. Next question. You see a pedestrian with a red and white stick. That tells you that this pedestrian has epilepsy, is blind and deaf, is deaf or is blind. Now, from what I know, if someone holds a white stick, it signals that they're blind. With a red ribbon, they're deaf as well as blind. So, with a red and white stick, it's not telling about a ribbon, but that could be the ribbon, about the red being the ribbon. I think it's trying to trick you out. So I'm going to put is blind and deaf, which is correct. The red and white stick tells you that this pedestrian is blind and deaf and cannot see or hear a car approaching. So you should be more cautious. Okay, right. Next question. You must not reverse your vehicle into side roads in an area with many buildings as well as stationary and moving vehicles for longer than a length of one car further than necessary. I'm going to put further than necessary. Reversing further than is necessary can endanger motorists and pedestrians. Yeah, basically what I thought of in my head. Next question. You are one of the first to help a motorcyclist injured in a traffic accident. Do not remove the person's helmet unless it is essential. It is at the motorcyclist's request. The motorcyclist seems to be feeling well. Other drivers tell you to do so. Seems to be feeling well. Okay, so it's not going to be that one. I don't think it's going to be that one. I think it's either going to be essential or motorcyclist request. Now, I don't know. I'm going to put motorcyclist request because, after all, it is their body. It's not yours. So I'm going to put motorcyclist request. Okay, so the answer is it is essential. You should remove a helmet only if it is absolutely essential or on the advice of a trained medical professional. So basically, it's remove it if it's essential, not at the motorcyclist request. I mean, I've suppose that's fair. You're going down a steep hill. To help control the vehicle, you should select a high gear and apply the brakes firmly. Select a low gear and apply the brakes carefully. Accelerate to get down the hill as quickly as possible, or drive closest to the car in front of you. Now, it's not going to be that one. It's not going to be that one. Select a low gear and apply the brakes carefully. That's what I do in my driving lesson, so I'm going to click that one, which is correct. When you release the accelerator, or gas, whichever country you live in, pedal and the throttle closes, the engine can help slow the car. This is known as engine braking. Select a low gear, even with an automatic gearbox, for increased engine braking effect. This effect allows you to use the brakes less often. So select a low gear even with an automatic gearbox. So I think in an automatic car you put it in neutral, and I think in some manual cars you can just put it in neutral too. And also like hover your right foot over the brake so you can apply it if needed. So if you're using a manual car, you'll probably just stick it in first and hover your foot over the brake and apply it when needed. So basically you got it right. Next question. The first MOT certificate will need to be acquired blank after the purchase of a new car. I don't know about MOT. Oh, well, I know that your car has to have an MOT, but I don't know like about certificates and acquired and thing after a purchase. First MOT certificate will need to be acquired. I don't even know what this question means, so I'm just going to put a year. 3 years. I didn't even know what that meant. The correct answer is 3 years. In accordance with the guidelines for all UK vehicles except ambulances, taxis and vehicles with more than 8 passenger seats, for which the requirement is 1 year. So I got it right for some vehicles, but not for most vehicles. So I didn't know what that meant. I think it just means when you get your MOT, it has to be valid for 3 years or something like that. I'm not too sure. So that'll be a question that I need to ask my driving instructor when I next have a lesson, which I think is next week. Anyway, next question. What should the left-hand lane of a motorway be used for? The left-hand, okay. Overtaking traffic in the middle lane, breakdowns only, normal driving, or vehicles travelling at the minimum speed limit. Now, I think it's going to be vehicles travelling at the minimum speed limit, because obviously trucks are only limited to like 55. But that could be normal driving. Oh, normal driving. Okay, this is actually a lot harder than I thought. Actually, I'm gonna put vehicles travelling at the minimum speed limit, which is wrong. Okay, the left-hand lane is just for normal driving. It is a lane in which people join the motorway, and it should be used by all drivers unless they are overtaking. Okay, so I did get that one wrong. Okay, next question. 2 questions wrong in 1 row. Anyway, I don't know how many questions have we got wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 mistakes and 7 are allowed to pass. We can only allow 3 more. So, if you have a collision, which of the following will reduce the risk of neck injury? A properly adjusted head restraint, having no seatbelt on, holding your neck upright, or a collapsible steering wheel. I'm going to put a properly adjusted head restraint. The headrest, that should be head restraint because that's the actual word, must be adjusted properly to provide support. The other choices will make no difference or even increase the risk. I think the head restraint, I don't know what it is, but I think like the head restraint has to be like in line with the top of your head, I think. So I've literally got a chair right here. So basically that where this ends should be like where the top of my head should be, if you get what I mean. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. So basically next question. While you are travelling within the legal speed limit, another motorist attempts to overtake your car. Should you stop the motorist from doing this? So the answers are yes, since the driver has the potential to harm you, your passengers and other drivers. No, unless you're in a safe position to prevent the driver properly. No, not under any circumstances. Or yes, if the driver is making you feel uncomfortable. I'm going to put no, not under any circumstances. Preventing a driver from overtaking has the potential to cause more accidents and endanger lives. Okay, so next question. You want to park facing downhill. You should park with two wheels up the curb, park as close as possible to the car in front, turn the steering wheel towards the curb and put the handbrake on, park with one wheel up on the curb. Now, none of the other three are talking about handbrakes. There's only one talking about a handbrake. So basically, is this talking about park up with two wheels up on the curb and not put the handbrake on? Isn't it common sense to put the handbrake on if you're even parking just normally? Turn the steering wheel towards the curb and put the handbrake on. So even if the handbrake isn't properly on, I mean, like, you should make sure it's on. But if, like, something went loose, I think the wheels, like, facing towards the curb, if facing downhill, it'll prevent it, like, going forward, if you see what I mean. Because if you just park like that, then the wheels have no sort of, like, anything to, like, brush up against. Like, if they're turning sideways, like, then the tarmac would hit, the tyres would scrape on the tarmac. But if it was just like that, then the tyres can just freely turn. So I think it's going to be turn the steering wheel towards the curb. So that was a bit hard to explain. Hopefully it made sense. To prevent your car from rolling when you park downhill, you should put the handbrake on. Turning the steering wheel towards the curb is an additional safeguard. If the car starts to roll, it will roll towards the curb, not out into the traffic. So basically what I kind of said. Anyway, next question. You are going to reverse into a side road, but you aren't sure the area is clear. You should check only your side mirrors, get out of the car and check only your rear view mirror, or assume it is and go anyway. I'm gonna put get out the car and check, which is correct. Okay. If necessary, get out the car and check to ensure that there are no objects that are in your blind spots or that are too small to see with your mirrors. Alternatively, get someone to guide you as you reverse. Okay. Next question. Your mobile phone rings while you are driving your vehicle. Oh no, a big no-no to answer it. When is it appropriate for you to accept the call? So once you have stopped in a legally permitted place, that's what I'm aiming to click at the moment. While on dual carriage, no. While traveling, no. When it just says while traveling, I'm just going to put no. It is illegal to use your phone while driving. If you are confident that your ability to drive will not be compromised by the distraction, even if you feel confident, you should never answer your phone. So I'm going to put once you have stopped in a legally permitted place. Unless you are using a hands-free device, I forgot about them. Your mobile phone rings. It never actually said about a hands-free device. You can use your mobile phone only after pulling over in a legal and safe place. Okay. You wish to park in a 40 mile per hour zone while traffic flowing in both directions. At night, you should park on the right side of the road with dipped headlights on the left side of the road without any lights on the left side of the road with parking lights on the right side of the road with parking lights on. That's tricky. So normally when you park on the left-hand side. At night, I mean, your front headlights have a stronger range, but from reading that fog lights question, that can dazzle other drivers. So I'm going to put on the left side of the road with parking lights on, and that is correct. According to rules 248 and 249, aka the rules I haven't read, aka any rules I've not read, of the official highway code, if you have to park at night, you must not leave your vehicle facing against the direction of the traffic flow unless it is in a recognized parking space. Your vehicle must display parking lights when parked on a road with a speed limit greater than 30 miles an hour. Okay, so I got it right. Next question. You are driving behind a large goods vehicle. It signals right but starts to move left. We've seen this a lot in Euro Truck. You should overtake it to avoid a collision, carry on and keep to the right, accelerate and sound your horn, slow down and let it turn. That one, because it has to turn left to give it more space. And the larger vehicle may need to move to the left before turning right to avoid cutting off a object on its right. You should allow, so basically, allow the room. Anyway, next question. If you have to slow down quickly on a motorway because of a hazard, you should switch on your hazard lights, beep your horn, flash your headlights, or wave your arm out the window. I'm going to put switch on your hazard lights. Putting on your hazard lights, putting on your hazard lights in the universal indication of a hazard. This indication will warn other motorists behind you to prepare accordingly. So basically what I just said. While you are travelling within the legal speed limit, the motorist behind you flashes his or her headlights. What should you do? Keep travelling at your chosen speed. The driver will overtake after judging it is safe to do so. Accelerate to leave a gap between you and the vehicle behind. Wave your hand out the window, or brake sharply to see driver sees your brake lights. I'm going to put keep travelling at your chosen speed because either of these can be highly dangerous. So I'm going to put that one. The best to allow is the vehicle to overtake you. Right, next question. As you are driving, ahead of you is a bus at a designated stop. You should accelerate past the bus, brake suddenly behind the bus and wait for it to go. Prepare to slow down and give way to the bus suddenly moves, or beep to notify the driver as you pass the bus. I'm going to put prepared to slow down, and that is correct. Slowing down and giving way is the best way to ensure that you can keep yourself and those on the bus safe. Okay. Next, if your vehicle breaks down inside of a tunnel, what should you do? Switch on your hazard lights and call your breakdown company. Wait in your car until a breakdown is reported to the police. Get out of your car and stand behind it to show other drivers that it isn't moving. Get out of your car and flag down some other drivers for help. I'm going to put switch on your hazard lights and call your breakdown company. You must switch on your hazard lights to alert others that your car isn't moving. Then ring your breakdown company to arrange the roadside assistance. Okay. Next question. You must hold your full EC/EEA driving license for blank years before supervising a learner driver. I don't know what EC or EEA means. I think it just means a fully qualified driving license. So, I know for supervising a learner driver, I think you have to be 21. So I don't know if that means your driving license has to be valid for 3 years, because you can get your driving license at 18. So I don't know. Or 17. I don't know. I don't know. I know that you can supervise learner drivers at the age of 21, but I didn't know that was something to do with the driving license. I mean, obviously you'd need a driving license rather than just teaching a learner driver over the age of 21 and not having a valid driving license. I'm going to put 3, because normally drivers get their driving license at the age of 18, and then they can't supervise a learner till 21. So I'm going to put 3 years. In my head, it makes sense, and it is correct. You must have a license for at least 3 years to have sufficient experience while driving. Okay. Next question. What is the national speed limit for the outside lane of a motorway? National speed limit for the outside lane of the motorway. Oh, is that just the standard? Because that'll be 70. 70, yeah, is the maximum speed limit on all lanes of the motorway. Okay, got it right. While driving in foggy conditions, you should stay well behind the vehicle in front of you, in case the vehicle's fog lights startle you, in case the vehicle's brake lights startle you, in case the vehicle stops abruptly, in case the vehicle changes direction at short notice. I'm going to put if the vehicle stops that word. The further you are behind the vehicle that may have to stop abruptly in low visibility, the better chance you have of braking without injury. Okay, basically got it right. If you have been disqualified from driving, in addition to serving your sentence, what must you do to get a driving license again? Pay all remaining fines, apply for a new license, and resit your test at any time during the disqualification period. That is not right. Resit all driving tests and examinations of behaviour and skill at a time that suits you. No. Resit all tests after the period of disqualification has concluded, applying as a new driver. I think that one is the correct one. Reset all tests after the period of disqualification has concluded, applying for a duplicate driving license. I'm going to put the third one. In addition to passing all tests, you need to apply as a new driver once the disqualification period has ended. Okay, basically. Next question. After heavy rainfall, the motorway is wet and road spray is affecting visibility. Your overall driving conditions. You should ensure that your dipped headlights are on. Ensure that your front fog lights are turned on. Ensure that your hazard lights have been activated, or ensure that your rear fog lights are turned on. After a heavy rainfall, the motorway is wet and road spray is affecting visibility. Now, I think when you're driving, if your visibility is less than 100 meters, I think then you have to turn your headlights on, your fog lights on. Sorry. So I'm going to put ensure that, dipped headlights. I don't know if that is fog lights. I'm going to put dipped headlights because I think that's both front and rear fog lights. So I'm going to put that one, and it's correct. Dipped headlights increase your visibility and are recommended for safe driving in dangerous weather conditions. Okay. Next question. When driving through a flooded area, what should you do? Stop the vehicle and check your tyres. Test the function of your brakes at the earliest safe opportunity. Check your exhaust or stop the vehicle and dry your brakes. I actually have no idea about this one, guys. I am going to put check your exhaust. Okay, that's wrong. Test the function of your brakes at the earliest safe opportunity. Driving through the flooded area, your brakes may become less effective, so test them. If they're not fully effective, dry them out while applying light pressure to the brake pedal while driving slowly. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Next question. You're driving along a country road. A horse and rider are ahead of you. You should drive faster to get past quicker. Drive past slowly and give them plenty of room. Sound your horn to alert them or flash your headlights when passing. I'm going to put drive past slowly and give them plenty of room because a horse can get very agitated quite quickly. So I'm going to put that one. If you pass, so it's correct. If you drive past at a fast speed or give any signals that could scare the horse. So as I said, it can cause danger. Yeah, so basically just leave them space. You are driving in strong winds and wish to overtake a motorcyclist. What should you do? Stay close to the motorcyclist while overtaking. Pass with speed to ensure that you complete the overtake quickly. Pass as soon as you can or overtake the motorcyclist as wide as possible. So in strong winds, I'm going to put as wide as possible because even in low winds, I think you still need to leave a lot of space. So I'm going to put that one, which is correct. Passing wide will prevent a collision in the event that the motorcyclist is affected by the strong winds. Okay, next question. By how this video is taking, this video is probably going to turn out an hour long. While driving on a busy main road, you realise that you are travelling against the oncoming flow of traffic. You should perform a U-turn while in the main road. That can be dangerous. Pull into a side road, then turn around. That's the most sensible option. Perform a 3-point turn while in the main road. That's basically a U-turn, but making 3 adjustments. Or pull into a side road, then reverse back into the main road in the right direction, which is highly dangerous. So I'm going to put the second one. Turning the correct way in a side road allows you to travel in the right direction without interrupting traffic and increases the chances of an accident. Next question. Someone has injured his or her arm in an accident. The person can move it, but it is bleeding. What should you instruct the person to keep the arm upright? It's the same about if a person is unconscious, what is your highest priority? This is not. Does this really occur in a theory test? Because in my head, this is a doctor's test. From what I know about first aid is, as I said, like you apply light pressure and then hold it above the heart, and then hold it above the arm to stop blood to stop blood flow getting to the wound. I'm gonna put what should you instruct the person to keep the arm upright? It will help reduce the bleeding, which is correct. If you keep the bleeding arm upright, it will lessen the blood flow to the arm and thus reduce the bleeding until the injury can be treated by a medic. Basically, as I said. Next question. You may drive over a footpath if you are getting to a property. No pedestrians are using the footpath. It is at a dip in the curb, or you need to overtake a slow-moving vehicle in front. I'm going to put getting to a property. You should only drive over a footpath to gain lawful access to a property or in case of an emergency. Okay, you are at a railway level crossing and the red light signal carries on flashing after the train has passed. You should go through as quickly as possible, proceed slowly, sound your horn to tell other drivers, or wait. Now, a railway crossing can have 2 trains cross at once, so if it carries on flashing after the train has passed, possibilities is that another train will be waiting to go past. So us as a driver, I think we'll have to wait, which is correct. You must wait, another train may pass, and it would be dangerous for you to cross, because otherwise if you start going, beep, yeah, you get the picture. Next question. Which style of driving will cause risks to all on the road? Cautious, competitive, defensive, or responsible? I'm going to put competitive. Competitive driving is dangerous for you and all other drivers since it can make you more erratic on the road. Okay, next question. For which vehicles should you allow extra room when you overtake? Tractors, cars, road sweepers, or motorcycles? I'm going to put motorcycles. Bicycles and motorcycles should be given extra room as wind can cause them to drift. So, a police officer flashes headlights at you and points left. What should you do? Pull over to the left, brake immediately, turn left at the next side road, or turn left at the next roundabout. Now, I should hope that none of you brake immediately. I would pull over to the left. You should pull over to the left as soon as it is safe to do so. The police officer is asking you to do this so the officer can communicate with you properly. I mean, wouldn't the police officer just put on the headlights, just put on the lights and sound the siren a little bit to signal for you to pull over? I don't know. Anyway, next question. We're on the last one as well. If we get this one wrong, I think we've passed this anyway. I'm not too sure. While driving behind a vehicle on a road that is slippery and wet, how large a gap should you leave between that vehicle and yours? I know 2 seconds is normal, like with normal driving in dry conditions. I think because it's slippery and wet, you need to leave another 2 seconds. So I'm going to put 4 seconds, and that is correct. So in wet and slippery conditions, you should increase the usual 2-second distance to 4 seconds. So let's view the result, and we passed. I haven't even read the theory book and have passed the theory test. I mean, of course, I think the actual theory test questions are going to be different than that. I think they're going to be like a lot more difficult. So I will need to read the theory test. But to say that I have passed that is quite impressive. I'm not going to lie. 45 correct answers out of the at least 43 needed to pass. So I got 5 questions incorrect. So I got 90 out of 100. So basically 9 out of 10. which is insane. I'm not going to lie. That was quite fun, actually, as well. I think that concludes this video then. So it looks like I'm going to be a safe driver on the road. So I'm going to stop recording now because I've been recording for ages. So thank you for watching this video. If you did like it, then leave a like. That'd be awesome. And thank you very much. Also, make sure to subscribe to see more videos on the channel, and also click the notification bell so then you guys will get notified every time I put out a new video, so you guys can be the first ones to see it. But apart from that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, take care and peace out.